Welcome back to another episode of Dream Chasers Insanity. Very, very thankful, grateful to say the least, that you guys have decided to join us today. If this is your first time joining us, I promise you this is going to be a quality episode. So go ahead and just leave a like, comment, subscription. Turn on those post notifications too, and you're going to be in tune for all the videos that we're dropping whenever they come around. That is one of the simple ways to support the channel. But if you feel like you want to go above and beyond to support this greatness that we're cultivating here on this page, go ahead and look in the description, and I do have a bunch of links for you to go hit, whether that's our Patreon community where you can connect with like-minded individuals such as myself and other viewers, or you want to go check out some of our courses which are featured on our Patreon community, continue to help you develop your self-concept, your being beyond what society validates you to become. Or would you like to pick up some merch, some real live product from our community, and donate picking up some merch from Cosmic Nomads, rebelsouls.shop? It's up to you. And remember, if financial donations aren't in your immediate reach, your presence is gladly appreciated. So how about I let you read the board, and we're going to see how we're going to get into this video. Now, let's get into the juice, the real good part of this video. Why would I even title this? The only American dream for a slave is freedom. This one, I know it's not Black History Month and it's not Juneteenth, but I think about my Black people every day. And I'm not saying that Black people are slaves. What I'm saying through this is using the understanding of the genesis, the foundation of colonization, what happened to ancestors of peoples that look like me. We're going to be able to understand how this pseudo-slavery is perpetuated even to this day to continue to source wealth out of slaves to the system, to continue to line the pockets of greedy capitalists who have no value to provide. They just sell us illusions of salvation and facilitation of our community cultivation while actually destroying our communities, corrupting our consciousness, and then stealing, commodifying, and then stealing all the wealth that is created from our community. And then when we can't produce anymore to the extent by which they need to make wealth, they throw us away. And they let us delete ourselves. But capitalism is good, right? Yeah. And I know you guys may think it's like almost oxymoronic how I'm saying, like, I give my own self promo for my brands and businesses, and then I say capitalism's like the worst thing on planet Earth. Don't get me wrong, I definitely believe that capitalism can work. But capitalism built to enslave 90 to 99% of people, only to enact an excessively abundant socialism for the elite class, and then bribe everyday people, turning it into their communities into crabs in a bucket to tear each other down at hopes that they might get a lick of what life is like above the glass ceiling that never needed to exist. And we are actively building with our own real resources, continuing to validate its existence rather than knowing us being able to have our needs met as a people is the value that these people want to siphon from us so they can be the source of our salvation. And we continue to tear each other down to defend their ownership of us and our souls. And on top of that, our inability to self-validate enough to free ourselves from this slave system that our ancestors, many of us, fought so hard to make sure that we never had to get to slip back into or to live like. So this is a very important episode. This is a very important episode, especially for people that, I mean, the videos I make are for creatives, for entrepreneurs, for non-traditional life path people. if you, as a non-traditional life path having person, don't get to a point in this day and age where you can take full autonomy over your life, full personal responsibility, which will lead to that autonomy in your personal life. If you can't get there, you will forever be dependent on whoever can fund your lifestyle. That's just what it is. And for somebody, although my lineage doesn't stretch all the way back to American slavery, but as a Black American born in America myself, my history is connected to that of Black Americans. And in understanding that our history goes so much farther back, and our culture and our communities and the wealth that we were cultivating and the travels and the stories that we have go so much further than European colonization. And that European colonization didn't save us, but it stole us to use us to create their own fantasy world, which ended up just being depriving as many of us of humanity as possible to sustain this illusion, and then selling that illusion to anybody who's willing to be complicit enough. And then hoping the children of the people who were enslaved to make this world never woke up in their own minds to really decide, wait a second, there's no amount of money, there's no amount of sex, there's no amount of experiences, there's no amount of nothing that I could get in this world, this imaginary world created by my ancestor slave master and their children. There's no amount of salvation I can get from them or the gods that they believe in that can compensate for them truly acknowledging the real history as to how we even are interacting with each other, and accepting the fact that what he stole from us and my people and my land first was the true value that would keep me and my people and our descendants chasing after him their entire lives. And until he decides whether it's knowledge, whether it's wealth, whether it's access, whether it's actual magic, until the colonizer decides that he needs to return what was stolen, or at least make peace with what he has done, then you let me know what happens after that. But again, this is capitalism itself is a wealth extraction process, a community wealth extraction process, where the capitalist provides zero value, sells an illusion as if he will provide a value, he or she will provide value, ends up exploiting people, stealing value, not compensating properly, destroying a community, and then bastardizing a culture to be commodified at later dates, selling it under the guise of nostalgia. I don't know if I addressed it at that point. I think I may have slid off the point, but the one thing that whether it's the African slave or it's just like the wage slave, the dependent slave to this oppressive system, specifically in this American empire, they cannot know the value exists within them and exists beyond the grasp of European colonization. Because you need to know that only in this world, in this system, will you be saved, will you be righteous, will you be accepted. And then they throw this illusion of a divine figure to judge you your whole entire, every step that you make in this life. So you never, ever, ever learn to trust yourself or to accept yourself. You only ever learn to be codependent to the validation of the children of slave masters who didn't think you and your ancestors were human even though they built the fuck out of this country. Remember that. Always remember that. What value did we get in return other than having our countries and communities destroyed, wealth extracted, natural resources gate kept, all of all the wealth that was deemed by these colonizers was stolen and put into museums and kingdoms and churches in their home state because I guess they didn't have anything over there, right? What value did they provide us other than the illusions they keep selling us to keep on justifying or getting us to gaslight ourselves to justify why we keep playing this stupid ass fucking game that only serves 1% of people yet uses 99% of people's ignorance and naivete to keep it going. Perpetuate it. I wish I found that word 2 seconds earlier. But let's just get into it right now. Whether you're a black slave, whether you're a wage slave, whether you're a emotional slave, it's for my wives who are out in the world knowing that they're built for more than just being a stay-at-home trad wife. They know that they're a wild woman who's meant to run and chase the stars. Well, no matter what kind of slave you are a free man on my page. In my community, in this consciousness, you are free, and I need you to look at yourself from the lens of being a free person. Being a person who was already complete before somebody colonized this value that you had, that you were cultivating. And they convinced you that they would help you or help you facilitate the cultivation of that value, but now all they're doing is siphoning the value from you instead of complementing you or actually helping you. I explain this in probably like 3 or 4 videos. Any video I talk about capitalism, I always reference this equation. And it's not even an equation or a formula. I had to put things in there to separate. But I'll explain it good enough for you to know like, oh shit, yeah, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. So, salvation seller formula. After you go colonize somebody's land, or how you actually get to colonizing somebody's land, that's the better thing. I want to say them, but I mean, the colonizer here says, hey, friend, you who is cultivating real value with my illusion of value, if I give you this 0 and you give me your 1, this 0, if you rub it the right way, if you believe in it hard enough, this 0 is going to turn into a 2, and it's going to be worth way more than your 1, but you have to do the right work, and you have to do every single thing I say, and if it doesn't work, then you have to blame yourself. But this will turn into a 0. Just give me every 1 that you ever have. Mind you, this guy only has 1 0. You have 1, 1, 1. You cultivate 1s consistently. The 1 represents the real value. The 0 represents the illusion of value or the illusion of support that the capitalist is offering you to just help you siphon out more wealth and value for themselves. And the 2, that's the illusion that you're supposed to get. But actually, it doesn't matter how many 2s you get because he could give you 100 2. He could give you 100 zeros. It don't matter what you put. Oh, damn, I don't have a marker. It don't matter. It don't matter if I put 0 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 100, 1,000, 1 million. Wait a second. Maybe powers isn't the right one to use. Forgive me if the powers turns shit into 1. But what I want you as a slave to understand is that you were the one who had the value in the first place, and you were convinced by somebody who didn't have value that they were. And now you're codependent to somebody who is using you against yourself and putting you in positions to not awaken to the fact that you are the real value, giving yourself off to invest in somebody who is depriving you of accessing true growth beyond that one. Because they're going to collect all your ones until you don't give them anymore. And then they're going to find somebody else who has some ones for them. Literally like a narcissistic partner in a relationship. How crazy. Everybody goes through this fucking shit. Everybody goes through this shit. Now, this might be a little controversial. I don't care. I'm at that point where I'm kind of just speaking from my soul and hoping that it aligns with everybody who understands this frequency. And if you don't get it, bro, go ahead and just hate. I don't care. The only reparations we can get is our soul back. The only reparations we can get is fair chance, opportunity, resources, real history, real support, real accommodation, real understanding, independent autonomy. You don't get it. You don't get this shit at all, bro. It's not about, let's give all the blacks $1,000 a month until the end of the world. No. We don't need that. But you know, if you give us our soul back, and again, there's no definitive answer for what soul is. So that's going to be one of those things that you have to intuitively connect in your brain. But when I say our soul back, it literally could never happen because the American dream and American freedom is rooted in the enslavement and deprivation of humanity. I wish I added that. And deprivation of humanity or humanization of marginalized folks. So you have to find somebody, whether they're blackness, whether they're queerness, whether they're womanhood, you have to find some reason, some existential divine story to justify why we deprive these people of humanity so we can overindulge these people with humanity to the point where they think they're deities, and then we sell the opportunity to be a deity to all of these middleman bystanders, have them literally deleting each other to chase that while slowly but surely abandoning themselves and the fact that they need to have their real needs met first. They're only chasing these conditional illusions of salvation because they lost their initial one. And if they knew what the initial one was and how valuable it was validating the self, then they would protect that at all costs and only be in collaboration with other people who actually had some other value of equal or greater value to complement with, not just giving ourselves up to the validation of anybody that has money, because that money, before it turned into money and it was put in these banks and in these churches, it was real natural resource and wealth that is sourced from Mother Earth herself. And it's interesting, the people that look like Earth have to get demonized the most. But again, don't cancel me. Don't cancel the messenger, bro. Don't cancel the messenger, OG. And if a conclusion like this is so easy to get to, how the fuck is it so hard to get people to calm off it? You know what I mean? Well, let me explain that. Being in that constant state of lack, that fear of missing out mindset, that constant state of lack, for lack of better terms, literally perpetuates feelings of desire. And again, I'm not personally like a traditional Christian like you guys. I'm just a very spiritual person. And I like inspiration from different spiritual works and teachings. But there's something that is said in the Bible. I don't know. One of you Bible thumpers can tell me what it is. And it says, I am something I shall not want. And I think that's a beautiful, honestly, I should have just done, like, clicked on it, my iPad or something and looked it up. But in not being able to have the discernment to decide, to know what is the difference between needs and wants, needs and desires, needs and fantasies, in being able to have that, you protect your soul at a ridiculous level. And not being able to have the self-control and the discernment to know between what you need and what you want can make you the best customer to capitalism, because you become addicted to spending. You become addicted to consuming the culture or whatever the trendiest culture is, because you're just consuming to be a part of social acceptability. You're not consuming to accommodate your needs and then consuming beyond that to continue to cultivate your uniqueness. You're just consuming to put a new identity on yourself that you're going to cling on to until it stops feeding you social validation, and then cling on to the next thing that society's throwing at you. But that lacking, not just lacking things, but lacking basic accommodation, lacking acceptance of the self, lacking a decent self-concept. Go to my Patreon and check out my self-concept series if you want to develop that. Lacking these things causes you to desire externally to validate what you cannot confront and confirm on the internal. What you aren't able to face in here, you attempt to get help out there. You attempt to get validation. You attempt to get support. You attempt to get love, respect out there. But now you're at the mercy of everybody else's intentions, and you aren't at the mercy of your own intention and decisions, which at the end of the day could be the best ones for you to fall victim to, because you're the only person that can save yourself from those. And in this constantly taking from the people who are cultivating their own value and then feeding them crumbs to make them addicts to this cycle of capitalism and the activity, which is the culture of capitalism, I call consumerism, you literally just have everyday people buying things, but truly not buying things. Because consumerism is sugar-coated cultural colonization. And if you heard me speaking maybe 5 minutes ago, I hope I'm getting these on the nose. Maybe 5 minutes ago, I'm speaking about how these cultures are not being appreciated. We're just taking somebody's culture, funneling it through a system of commodification, exploiting that value created, exploiting the wealth, not reinvesting in the same people that sourced the wealth. Because now we think that, well, if they don't have any resources either, then they're going to depend on us for their lives. So we'll just keep using them until they aren't alive anymore, and then find new people that need to depend on us until they're not alive anymore, and keep doing that, instead of reinvesting this value that people are so connected to and actually creating to continue to expand the wealth that can come from this. It's like pure American greed, bro. That shit is one of the 7 deadly sins. American greed. It's nobody else, bro. I understand it could be other people. Comment below if there's other countries who have greed like American. But when you see greed, I need you to stamp American on top of that, because there is no greed like American greed, bro. Holy shit. There is no greed like American greed. Now, even if you are compensated properly by capitalism, you're a Drake or a Jay-Z or a Diddy, even if you are compensated properly by capitalism, I want you to understand that that shit will not save you. And I will speak specifically, I might even meet this guy in the future, so I feel bad that I'm going to have to, all of this is going to be my dirty laundry that gets blown up when I have to shake this dude's hand. But think about Jay-Z, man. Think about Jay-Z not performing at any hip hop like anniversary events, but performing for like a Tom Brady anniversary. You will keep on, no matter how valid the master thinks you are in this constant, perpetual commotion that is chasing the validation to make sure not only are you good, but to continue to make sure you're one of the good ones. Because the master's fear might cause him to not trust you and take your livelihood completely away from you. That will always be the fear of the house Negro. And at that point, when you get slipped away from access to the master, you've already done so much selling out of your own people, the people don't even want to accept you anymore. And you haven't even built any like back ends, ladders, or stepping stones for other people to build genuinely within your own community because you've been spending so much time in the other people's community that these people don't even want to accept you because they don't even know who the fuck you are. Acting like trying to be Mr. President, bro. I hate that shit so much. But you have to remember, anybody who's a criminal and allowed to promote criminal activity and is making millions of dollars from doing it is a salesperson for prisons. They are marketers and influencers for private prisons. These people are not pimps. These people are not drug dealers, dude. All those people are locked up already. All the people who really do it, who really threw their hand down in the streets, bro, all of them is locked up already. Or they ain't promoting shit on TV all day, bro. They just trying to see which one of you niggas is stupid enough to do the shit for real and then really go to jail behind that shit, bro. And then, yeah, I'm not snitching. I'm going to ride for my brother, bro. And there's another whole life of the potential of a whole life for somebody colonized by the system because you decided to enact lies that a house slave was promoting. So you could go into jail and you could now be on somebody's yearly income sheet. A family who probably don't even think that you're a human being because you got skin like this. But realize this, what I'm trying to say with all this, I don't want to come off as a hater, but I know I am. There is no amount of riches, millions, billions, none of that will save you. The master will constantly fear. The master will constantly fear that you will recognize this and the game that he's playing comes to an end. That is what the master is scared of. So the master will give you riches. He'll give you illusions of riches. He'll give you illusions of freedom, illusions of liberation, illusions of all the salvation you could ever ask for. And now, forgive me, now that we're moving into an age where AI can manipulate video image to a point where it can make things real that never happened. And media literacy, literacy period is at the ground level of society. And we're about to defund education federally, public school at least. Like, I hope this makes sense, guys. I really, really, really hope this makes sense. The master will do anything to make sure that you don't see this. Because then we create a world that he or she, again, it's 2024, cannot enslave completely beneath their own rule or their own salvation. Then the people in finally having freedom, in finding freedom and developing spaces that way they can start to become or understand and grow into accept themselves, then they start realizing that the people have to get the people's back. And we start going back to cultivating a bunch of these and letting these people selling us these leave them bitches behind. Forgive me. We leave those people behind because they don't need to be a part of this if the only way to get to a 2 is by cultivating it from within and expanding outside of us till the 2 comes from within us. The 2 will never come from somebody who doesn't like us, doesn't even humanize us, comes from the outside, exchanging the real value we're creating for the illusion of salvation that he's giving us, or she is giving us. And just an important reference right here for all of my people in that process of liberating the soul on planet Earth. Recognize this. Recognize this. Killmonger in Black Panther, the first movie, Killmonger's monologue at the end where T'Challa is trying to save him or saying like, oh, I'll take you to a hospital and we'll save you. And Killmonger goes, just so you could lock me up, throw me in the ocean with my ancestors. What do you say? Because they knew death was better than bondage. I'm not gonna lie, bro, I cried. I've probably cried like 2 or 3 times listening to that. That is some of the most powerful screenwriting I've ever seen in my entire life. Forgive me. That's some of the most powerful screenwriting I've ever felt in my entire life. Because that was pure emotion. And so much so to the point where like, that's real. Like, who is free at the end of the day? Killmonger, who no matter what he did, realized that there's nothing he can do in a world where colonialism dominates everything. And no matter what kind of justice he feels like he's going to pull for his people, he will always be trumped by the do-good Negro. Or is it T'Challa who's finally exposed his hidden community to the world to now be exploited by the colonial powers that be and already dominate the modern world, further exacerbating this colonial image into the new age? Letting colonial powers who have warred about nothing but religion, politics, and natural resources to have access to powers that can turn them into gods? Equality. Get the fuck out of here, OG. But not to get too lost from the point I'm trying to make here as we conclude this video. As a non-traditional person living in a slave manufacturing society, freedom is what you want over your 24 hours a day. You don't want what capitalism is selling you. You want the ability to decide if you even participate in capitalism or not. And that is called freedom. And just because this society is going to make you think because you're black, because you're a woman, because you're queer, because you're like different in some way, autistic, that you don't deserve freedom or you have to earn freedom the neurotypical way, especially the American neurotypical way, I promise you, you'll destroy your whole entire life attempting to chase validation that's never going to come. So be honest with who you are, bro, and what is freedom to you? What is freedom from the system, but still being somebody who creates value and can contribute to a community, to a world that exists with a consciousness that transcends this colonialism? Who are you in that world and what value do you contribute to it? And what is stopping you from becoming that person right now? Because I guarantee you, the more people who decide they're going to become those people in this world right now, the sooner and the quicker we pull that world into this reality. So we can experience it right now, rather than waiting for the future to come save us. It's very important. Final quote I'm going to leave you here with. If anybody steals this, you better tag me. I had to jump off the slave ship to my death just to realize I was born to walk on water. The only reason you fear death is because you don't understand that you have the capacity to be reborn. Allow the old versions of yourself to die as you release limitations and you start accepting the possibility of everything you could be. Start with freedom. Start with freedom and then create order within that freedom that serves the process of you growing into who you're supposed to be, contributing to a world that's worthy of existing in. Thank you for staying here and watching this whole entire video. Pat yourself on the back, give yourself a kiss on the cheek, or you can take those ones. But if you'd like to contribute to the channel, links in the description, or I'll literally just put like a little ad right here. You guys can go check out all the stuff. And if not, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. You're a real one for staying. Check me out on other social medias. Have a great day.